Hello, algebra. Here we go with our second lesson on writing equations. I told you at the end of the last lesson that this would be a little more challenging, and you'll see why hopefully here pretty soon. So we're going to recall some things we talked about last lesson. What two values do we need to write the equation of a line? Hopefully you remember that we had to look for M and B. Once we found those, we could write the equation. What are the variables in the equation? Those were X and Y. Right, we're going to take this a little further now. So this is the big idea for today. These are variables because they represent every single point on the line. X and Y are changing on the line, and that's why they're variables, because they can change. A point on a line has the coordinates X, Y. So anytime you know a point on the line, you have specific values for X and Y. So if I tell you that the point 4, 1 is on the line, you know that X equals 4 and Y equals 1. Using that information, it can help you to find M and B. And I'm going to show you how today. There is a relationship present when you know the slope and at least one point on the line. This relationship works every time. So there's another form of a line called point-slope form. Okay, this is a new form of the equation. It actually comes straight from the slope formula, and it's not too bad once you notice some of the details of it. This form can help you write the equation of a line if you don't know the y-intercept. And that's the trick part today, is we don't know the y-intercept. Yesterday, we knew it. Or if you knew where to look, you knew it. Today, you won't. So let's look at point slope form before we do some examples. So point slope form is written right there. I gave it to you. You're going to want to know that one. I will give it to you on tests and quizzes, but you still need to know kind of how to look at it. So you see y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. M, like always, represents the slope. And x1, y1. So those are here and here. X1, y1 represents any point on the line. Okay, so any point on the line, if you know it, you know x1 and you know y1. Now, there are some things to notice that make this a little bit tricky. The sign in front of both x1 and y1. Notice how it's negative. Right, so the sign in front of x1 and y1 are both negative. That'll come in. I'll show you what that looks like when we get to the first example. The second thing I want you to notice is y comes first as you go left to right. Now, if you don't recognize that, it's very easy to swap these two. Put the x value here and put the y value on the other side. Okay, you got to be very careful of those. Those are the two big things I see people mess up on, is the signs and switching the x and the y. All right, so let's do an example. Writing an equation between 2 points. So that's what we're going to start with. Write the equation of the line that passes through the points 1, 6, and 3, 2. Notice I don't have a graph. You could get a graph, but you don't need one. Step number 1 is find the slope. And we have a formula for that. Learned it in lesson 2. Slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2, I'm not going to spend much time going over where to look on all these things. You should know how to do this by now. Y2 is 2. Y1 is 6. X2 is 3. X1 is 1. So 2 minus 6 is negative 4. 3 minus 1 is 2. Reduce that, I get negative 2. So the slope is negative 2. Now, if we're looking for M and B like we have in the past, we have negative 2 for the slope. We don't know the y-intercept. Okay. Write the equation in point slope form. You have two options here. Why do you have two options? Well, because you have 2 points. So I'm going to write both of them in this problem. You do not need to do both. You only need to do one, but I'm showing you that you can have 2 potentially correct answers here. So the first one, because I don't know this, that's why I'm doing point slope form, right? So y minus something equals my slope, -2, x minus something else. We got to fill in those blanks. So notice I put the minuses there. That's on purpose. I'm going to choose the first time, I'm going to choose this number, or the first point, 1, 6. The y value goes with y. So the y value is 6, so I'm going to put a 6 here. The x value goes with x, so 1 goes here. And there's your first answer. Y minus 6 equals -2, x minus 1. Option 2 starts the same way. Y minus blank equals -2. The slope doesn't change. X minus something. What happens if I choose the other point? The y value goes with y. The x value goes with x. Now, you might be like, how can you have two separate equations? Well, watch what happens here. I haven't talked about transforming these equations yet, but that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to transform these equations into slope-intercept form. How? I'm going to distribute that -2. So I'm going to do that on both the top and the bottom, and watch what happens. So on the top one, go over here. I get y minus 6. Once I distribute, I get -2x. -2 times -1 is +2. And then I'm going to get y by itself by adding 6. And when I do that, I get y equals -2x plus 8. So my y-intercept is 8. See what happens on the bottom. Y minus 2 equals -2x. -2 times -3 is +6. Add 2 to both sides. Look what you get. Y equals -2x plus 8. They both land on the exact same equation. Okay, so that's why either one of those options is correct, because they both, when you transform them, go to the same thing. Now, one more thing I want to point out before I clear all this and move on to the back. The y-intercept is 8, right? So the b value here is 8. That did not show up in any of this stuff here. You cannot just look at this and say, find the y-intercept. Okay, you got to do the work if you need the y-intercept. Thing is, you don't always need it. If I just ask you to write the equation, you could have stopped. Oops. Right here. All right, so make sure you're keeping track of what I'm asking you to do. Okay. Let's go to the back. I know that's a lot. Let's go ahead and do these a little more quickly, I guess. So write the equation of the line that passes through the points, -4, 9, and 8, 6. This time, put your answer in slope-intercept form. So I do want slope-intercept form as your final answer. So that's y equals something x plus b. All right, so we got to figure those out. Same first thing, we got to find the slope. So that's y2. I'm not going to write it out this time. y2 is 6. y1 is 9. x2 is 8. -4 is x1. 6 minus 9 is -3. 8 minus -4 is 8 plus 4, so 12. Reduce that, I get -1/4. So that's my slope. Now I cannot, like I just pointed out that at the end of the first page there, I cannot just jump straight to the y-intercept. I don't have it. I don't know it. I've got to use point slope form. So y minus something equals the slope that I just found, x minus something. Now you get to choose a point. You do not have to choose both of them. You have to choose a point though. I'm going to choose this one. Might be able to figure out why. Both of those are positive. I like to deal with positives. Okay. But let's say I didn't choose that one. Let's go with this one because I'm going to show you what happens if you have a negative in there. Sometimes you have to choose a negative. So let's go ahead and do it here. So the y value goes with y. So that's 9. The x value goes with x. That's -4. I don't want to leave that as minus negative. So I'm going to rewrite this as y minus 9 equals negative 1/4 x plus 4. Now I want slope-intercept form, so I got to distribute and then add 9. So y minus 9 equals negative 1/4 x. Negative 1/4 times 4. By now you should be able to do that. It's negative 1. And we're going to add 9 at the end. And you get y equals negative 1/4 x. Negative 1 plus 9 is 8. So y equals negative 1/4 x plus 8. So I'm going to finish that up over here. I'm going to put the 8 right there. And we get our equation. Okay. Write the equation of the line represented by the table. Now, a lot of people are like, oh no, what do I do here? Well, it's really nothing different than what we just did at all, as long as you can see it that way. How many points are given in this table? Well, there's 4 x's and 4 y's. There are 4 points given. How many points do you need to find the slope? Well, to find the slope, I just need 2. How many points do you need to write the equation of a line? You really only need 1. Once you find the slope, if you have 1 point, you're good to go. So we have more than we need. All I'm going to do is I'm going to identify the 2 points that I want to use to find the slope. It can really be any 2 points. I'm going to go ahead and take, I'll take this one because they're both positive, and I'll take this one just because, to show you that I can do this. So I'm going to write them out, negative 6, 4, and 8, 25. And now you can see this is exactly what we did in the previous example and the one before that. So we're going to find the slope, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. 25 minus 4 is 21. 8 minus negative 6, or 8 plus 6 is 14. You can divide both of those by 7. 21 divided by 7 is 3. 14 divided by 7 is 2. So my slope is, hold on. My slope is, I'm going to write this up here, 3/2. Now, it does just say write the equation of the line. It does not say I want it in slope-intercept form. If you want to put it in slope-intercept form, go for it. But it doesn't say I have to. I have actually 4 options now. I can choose literally any of those 4 points and put this in point slope form. So I'm going to take the one that's got all positives in it, which will be the last one. The y value goes with the y, so 25. The m we just found was 3/2. And the x value 8 goes with 8 with the x. And actually, I don't have to do anything to that. I can write that right here. And there's my equation. Done. Okay. If you transform it, you just be careful. You're going to be doing work here, and it's potentially a mistake that you don't need to make. So I will do it just to show you again that it's okay to do. So 3/2x. 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. Divided by 2 is negative 12 plus 25. If you put it in slope-intercept form, again, which you don't need to do, negative 12 plus 25 is 13. Okay. So write the equation from a graph, and then we have a 1-word problem. So we have done this before. So what's different here? Hopefully you see that the y-intercept is not on the graph. That's the difference. Write the coordinates of the 2 points on the line. So I marked those there for you to make sure you know how to name those coordinates. That's negative 6, negative 2, and then negative 5. Be negative 5. Use those 2 points to write the equation of the line. So the first thing we want to do is the slope, right? Now you might do the slope formula. It's fine if you do. But you also have a graph here. Look what I can do. I can count 1, 2, 3, down 3, down 3, over positive 1. So my slope is negative 3 over 1, or just negative 3. Now I'm going to switch and do the y, or point slope form. So y minus something equals my slope of negative 3, x minus something. So pick one of the points. It doesn't matter. I'm going to take this one. The y value is negative 2. The x value is negative 6. Y minus negative 2 is y plus 2. Negative 3. X minus negative 6 is x plus 6. And I can stop right there. I'm going to go over here and write that equation on the line. Y plus 2 equals negative 3. X plus 6. And the reason I'm able to stop there is because it said write the equation from the graph. It didn't say which form it wanted it in, so you can stop there. If I said put it in slope-intercept form, you would have to go a little further. Hopefully you're catching on to that theme. Last one is the word problem from a situation. After 5 months, Sam has 53 video games. After 11 months, he has 95 video games. Assuming he collects the same number of video games per month, how many video games will Sam have after 24 months? Okay, so the question is how many he will have after 24 months. You cannot go straight into finding that. You got to get the equation first. I guess you could maybe figure it out, but the equation, once you practice it, you'll be able to get the equation and answer this question much quicker than if you just guess and check. So after 5 months, he has 53 video games. That's a point. X is number of months. Y is number of video games. I have a second point, 11 months. He has 95 video games. Okay, you can probably guess what we're going to do. Find the slope. 95 minus 53, 11 minus 5. So that's 42 over 6. So 7. His M is 7. What does that represent? That's his change in Y, so number of video games per month. So it's video games per month. Okay. So what do I do now? Well, I'm going to write my equation in slope-intercept or point-slope form. So Y minus, I'll take the first point here. The Y value is 53. 7 x minus 5. Now that's not going to really help me much. Answer this question. How many video games will he have in 24 months? Doesn't really seem like a great place to put 24. I mean, there is, you could do it, but I'm going to show you how changing it to slope-intercept form in this situation might be helpful, because we're going to get some more information from that we don't have in point-slope form. So y minus 53 equals 7x minus 35. Add 53. And I get y equals 7x plus 18. Now, there's a piece of information that you have now. The y-intercept is 18. In this situation, what does that mean? That means he started with 18 video games when he started collecting. And then he's adding 7 per month after that. Now it should be pretty easy. I have 24 months. Months is an x value. So I'm going to do 7 times 24 and add that to the 18 that he already has. So 7 times 24 plus the 18 that he already has. After 24 months, he has 186 video games. You know, that was a lot. We're going to practice this, but that's the end of this video. And we'll be taking a quiz soon.